It's all about that me mentality that you have to kind of erase a little bit and bring it out. And like you mentioned, you have talk to a different department, because then you'll understand their perspective, and then you'll realize, at least hopefully, that what you do and the decisions you make will impact them, which will then impact the company, which hopefully gives you the salary and maintains a better life for yourself, right? Over and over again. Have you seen some of these like Project X type situations where they'll take a group of folks to a retreat and then have them do these complicated, projects, essentially like, hey, take this beam of wood and then you have to get your team across this, ravine or whatever, or water. Do you find benefit in that sort of exercise?
It's trying to achieve the same result. It's an expensive proposition, which is why hardly anybody ever does it.
Really?
It's from two standpoints. One is the cost of setting it all up and doing it right. The second is the opportunity cost of people in companies. Now, if you're General Dynamics or Lockheed Martin and you've got 80,000 employees, you might be able to swing putting 20 people in the woods
I
for 4
see.
days, right?
Yeah.
But the vast majority of companies in the United States are not that big. And if they lose the receptionist or if they lose the one IT guy in-house, it's crisis time, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So you have to, from a reality standpoint, everything I was telling you about the exercises in the military, you can do those same exercises. You can do, we used to call them tabletop exercises, right? You can do the same thing. You can do the full scenario, all, 3 phases of, the 3-act play of whatever the issue is or the operation or the crisis, whatever. Or you can break that up into little elements and just do one element of it at a time. But you got to get people in a room and give them an artificial problem to solve. It doesn't have to be a log. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff. But what happens is, if they're multi-disciplined, the accountants can't do marketing without the marketing people. Marketing guys can't do,
Right.
engineering without the engineer guys. So you basically do this as a commingled group of different skill sets and also different levels of experience in the industry or in the company. That's important too. And what you do is you put them through a scenario where things are falling apart. Design a new supply chain.
Yeah.
You've got 8 hours. Go. And the accountant doesn't know
my lunch break.
Yeah, and the accountant doesn't know what do I know about supply chain. Well, what happens is you fail, and then you do the debrief. Well, how many people did you have here? You had laptops. Why didn't you put the accountant on Grok 4 and have them look up 10,000 different ways you can create a supply chain in 5 minutes?
Exactly.
You can use anybody and everybody if you have to. You just have to break down the conditioning that everybody's got to go according to their rank, their experience, their tenure, and their education and their job assignment. And you do that multiple times. If you do that once a month, what happens is eventually they say, okay, the best way to get to success in this exercise is to immediately work together, assign tasks to everybody, and then kind of have milestones during the time period to check in with each other. Where are we on this? And if I'm falling behind, okay, let's get 2 people on that. And they do it because they have to, because they're being kind of graded for their ability to complete these exercises. It's part of their, and they're told this in advance. And so you have to do this repeatedly, break down these issues. In the SEALs, just like in any military, and it's cliche in movies about the military, you're going to get an officer who thinks he knows everything.
Yes, always.
So let's say he gets through the SEAL selection process. How do you get an officer who knows everything or thinks he knows everything about everything to become that wise combat leader?
Fail them.
Well, you just put them in front of reality nonstop. I mean, 1 out of 1,000 guys might actually be a super genius, but that doesn't happen very often. So most of them will make decisions, and most of them will ignore their team's input.
That's right.
They'll ignore input from their team. I had an officer that was in my structure, and we were trying to groom him faster because we were on a contingency, short leash for a contingency. And there were guys that had multiple combat tours that were trying to tell him he needed to calm down. He needed to think a little bit slower. He needed to let the other guys do their job. And he was just,
listen more. Seriously.
He wasn't buying it. He was like, no, I don't agree with that. I don't think a list of guys should be telling me what to do. I think it's my, well, that's why you keep failing. That's why you keep failing, sir.
And then that's why you get out. Exactly. You don't need that person in the team.
Yeah. So you have to do that, and you're doing it in a benevolent way. You're not threatening, but you don't let them get away from it. You got to show up every time this exercise happens, and you have to perform, and you're observed performing.